Welcome to the Life After Sugar podcast, the podcast that's not just about sugar, but about your relationship with it and also with food and especially with yourself. So if you want to discover your life after sugar and hear inspiring stories from all kinds of people who also cut out sugar in their way, at their pace, for their own reasons, this is the podcast for you. Because when you take away the sugar, you can finally discover the real sweetness in your life. I'm your host, Netta Gorman, and in this week's episode, I'm talking with Tracey, who recently celebrated her 2-year anniversary for intermittent fasting. And through intermittent fasting, Tracey realized that sugar had always been a problem during her eating window. Every time she ate something sweet like cake or ice cream, she'd go back for more. Sounds familiar? Well, in this episode, Tracey explains how she dropped sugar for good and how intermittent fasting helped her to do that. We'll get to our chat in just a minute. But first, I just wanted to tell you that if you're looking for some free resources about how to get rid of cravings, then I have plenty for you. First, download my 5 tips to get rid of cravings. And those 5 tips may not be what you think they are. So go to aftersugarclub.com and download your 5 tips today. And come check out the Life After Sugar Facebook page and subscribe to the Life After Sugar YouTube channel, as well as my Instagram account at My Life After Sugar, which is where you'll get all kinds of inspiration so that you can see that it's perfectly possible to live a happy and active life, even if you don't eat sugar. You can also check out my TikTok account at Netta_lifeaftersugar. All right, so today I'm speaking with Tracey Mack. And Tracey, can you tell us a little bit about your history with sugar and when and why you decided to stop eating it?
Hi, Netta. Thanks for having me. Well, I first started trying to eliminate sugar from my diet, and the exact date was October the 3rd, 2022, because I had started intermittent fasting in January 2021. No, January 2022. Actually, I just celebrated my 2-year anniversary for intermittent fasting
Woohoo.
last week, and
Ah,
it's still going well. But the sugar was always a problem during my eating window. Um, I and I believe I really had a sugar addiction because when I would eat sugar, like cake and ice cream, and go to a birthday party or something, I would eat the cake and the ice cream, and I would always want to go back for more. And I would be looking around at other people, even kids, like, why don't they like want any more sugar? But I would eat as much of it as I could. And of course, the next day I wouldn't be feeling so great. But I've always had, for the last 10 years, I've had like this eczema, this itchy skin. And I really do think sugar was probably the culprit because dermatologists could never help me. In the whole 10 years that I was seeing dermatologists, I don't even go to dermatologists anymore because the cream is just a Band-Aid for the current breakout. It always took care of it, but a week later, the itching would come back, or maybe a month later, but it would always come back. So I started thinking that maybe it's something that I'm eating. It's got to be, I'm probably gluten sensitive, but it never dawned on me to really, I didn't know if I could really cut out those things until I started intermittent fasting in 2022. So October the 3rd, and I have it written in my journal. Today would be the first day, no sugar, and I even threw no processed food in there because I figured that was all lumped together, right?
yep, yep.
So I think I went a week. And then when I made it to the weekend, I had some sugar, some ice cream or something with sugar. So I was still proud because I went a whole week.
Yeah.
Now, ice cream, butter pecan ice cream, that's my kryptonite, I call it. That was my downfall. I had to have some butter pecan ice cream. So much so that prior to October the 3rd, I had convinced myself that, okay, the ice cream that I'm eating, it has all of these ingredients in it. It's Hudsonville. So I'm going to eat the healthy version. So I started buying Haagen-Dazs ice cream or
Oh,
what's that other one? Haagen-Dazs or anyhow, whatever the name of it was. They only had maybe 6 ingredients and everything that I could read, understand, just sugar, cream. There was no process, no chemicals in it that I couldn't pronounce.
yeah.
So I was eating the Haagen-Dazs and the natural Breyers, that was the name of the Breyers ice cream. So
Oh,
I thought, hey, I'm doing something here. I'm eating the natural ice cream
mm,
without the chemicals in there that I can't pronounce. But October 3rd, I said, okay, I got to give that up too. It's time for it to go. I need to get to the root of my eczema, my itching, my flare-ups. And I know it was the sugar. It had to be something that I was eating. So every week, so let's see, October, November, I probably went 2 months where I would not have any sugar or processed food through the week. But then on the weekend, I would have something. But I wouldn't have much. I would just have my dose of ice cream or whatever the case may be on that weekend. And I may only have it that one day. But I felt good. I felt that I was making progress. So on May, let's see, May 1st, 2023, I decided it's time to let this go. Well, let me back up. Prior to that, I had made it all the way to 2 weeks with no sugar and no processed food for a
cool.
couple of weeks. And then in April, I made it all the way to 3 weeks, which was really the May 1st date. That's when I knew, okay, I don't need to have a dose of ice cream this weekend. So that 3 weeks, no cravings, and I didn't feel like I had to have it anymore. It was like it was gone. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not craving sugar.
Oh,
so, so I felt like, wow, I broke the addiction. A lot of people don't consider sugar, an addiction, but it was for me because I had to have it. I wanted it. I had to have my ice cream. And at one point I had substituted it for Doritos. It was just
okay.
one bad thing for another. So yes, since May 1st, I can say that I have truly broke my sugar addiction.
Amazing. Amazing. And I can see you kind of went step by step, not too
Yeah,
much pressure on yourself. Because some people, we start out and we're like, this is forever. And then of course, that whole idea of never again, forever, it's like too overwhelming. And then we're like, well, screw it.
right. Too much pressure, too much pressure. I am a firm believer in being kind to myself
Yes.
and
Yeah.
giving myself grace.
Love that. Absolutely. And I think that is a major part of your success, that you are kind to yourself, you give yourself grace, you let yourself be imperfect. Love that.
Yes. And listening to your podcast and other podcasts helped me on on the path. It
Yeah,
kept me grounded. It's really motivating that I can just click on a podcast and listen to someone's story and that can keep me going. Like,
fantastic.
okay, if they can do it, I can do it too.
Wonderful, wonderful. And how is your skin now?
I haven't had any serious outbreaks. Haven't been to the dermatologist. Well, it's winter time here now, so I'm going through the dry skin thing, which is probably I'm hearing other people complain about dry skin because it's been below freezing for the last 5 days, for the last
Where are
week,
you?
snowing. So yes, I have to use more lotion and oils on my body to keep the dry skin away. But the true tale will be this summer. I'll see if I'm actually having an outbreak this summer or if it's just the cold weather. But right now, I think it's just the cold weather. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Where are you exactly?
I am in Taylor, Michigan,
Okay.
about 20 minutes south of Detroit,
Okay. Yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And so, and when you were, when you decided to cut sugar and processed foods, you said you sort of saw them together as like a package deal. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, because as we all know, processed food has a lot of hidden sugars in there.
Mhm.
So yes,
Okay. And so what's left? What did you actually eat when you weren't eating sugar and processed foods?
a lot of things. Fruits. That's when I introduced fruits back into my life because uh, there was a point there when I was afraid of fruit because of the sugar content in the fruit, but it's natural. So it was misinformation. I know better now. So I leaned on my fruit and my vegetables, beans, uh, seafood. I have a little seafood. My goal this year is to give up meat, but I still have a little seafood and a little bit of chicken here and there. And yes, salmon, like fish. Uh, Definitely not eating any ground beef or pork. That was easy to let go of.
Okay. Why did you let go of those?
Well, I let go of them because I just wanted to um I'm really trying to go plant-based. I'm really trying to go whole food plant-based.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right. And so can I ask you a question about your ice cream thing?
Yes.
And by thing, I mean habit, you know. So you
Yes.
said that butter pecan ice cream was your kryptonite.
Yes.
Did you ever look at the ingredients and have a look whether there was any butter or pecans or cream in the ingredients?
In the ingredients, um, mm, well, I still eat nuts.
No, but my question is in the actual ice cream, the list of ingredients,
Yes.
did you ever notice whether there were actually pecans or butter or cream in the pecan butter ice cream?
Okay, in the Hudsonville, in the first ice cream that I was eating before I switched over to the more
Or I,
natural.
yeah, or either one, either brand.
Well, in the natural, it was just regular, it just said sugar, pecans, butter, cream. But in the one that I was eating prior to switching,
Mhm.
I don't know what ingredients were in there. It was a science project. It was just, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, totally. Yes, I believe you. And then
Mhm.
when you switch to the sort of the higher end ice cream, what was your thinking process as you switched? Do you remember?
When I switched from the highly processed ice cream to the one that only had six ingredients.
Exactly.
Well, I my thought process was, okay, I'm going to eat the cleaner version of the ice cream because this ice cream didn't have these ingredients in there that I couldn't even pronounce. It just had sugar, cream, butter, and everything in there. It was something that I was familiar with that could be possibly be in my cupboard. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
yes.
so what was the problem with that ice cream?
Well, it's still addicting. I was still able to eat a half a gallon of ice cream in one sitting. Okay, two sittings, but I was still out of control.
Hmm.
It's
Okay.
still
So
lighting up my brains.
right. Yeah. And that often happens where it's not actually the food, it's how we relate to the food or what it does to our behavior or our brain. And
Right.
at what point did you think, well, even this high-end, good quality ice cream, I just can't handle it?
When did I decide I couldn't handle it? Because I
Yeah.
was still binging.
Yeah.
I was still binging off of it. Okay, so I said, wow, this isn't helping. I'm still having ice cream binges.
Yeah. I want to take a quick break to say that if this is your first time here, then welcome and thank you for listening to this podcast. And whether you're new or a regular and you haven't yet rated or reviewed this podcast, could I ask you to scroll down and tap on the stars to rate this podcast and also to write a short review to let me know how this podcast is helping you in your life after sugar. I love reading your reviews. And when you rate and review this podcast, not only does it encourage me to continue making new episodes, but it also helps to share this podcast and have more people see it so that we can help more people feel better and lose weight with less sugar. So again, thank you for rating and reviewing this podcast and for spreading the word about sugar. Yeah.
And the people close to me knew that I binged on ice cream.
And did you not miss it when you stopped eating it?
Uh, yes, I did. The first few weeks, I wanted it, but I would just replace it with something else sweet, a piece of fruit, or just, fill up at dinner time.
Okay, yeah. And
And dates helped.
dates. Well, speaking of dates, because I know in the intermittent fasting groups that we're part of, there's a
Mhm.
thing for dates with peanut butter and, so I see
Right.
that a lot. Yeah. Um, how did intermittent fasting help you in this whole process?
Well, intermittent fasting actually helped me create an eating window every day, and it helped with my satiety. I was able to, prior to intermittent fasting, I was doing one of those weight loss programs where you eat breakfast, you eat lunch, dinner, snacks in between, snack at bedtime. So basically, I was just eating all day. Even though it was 1,200 or 1,300 calories, I was still eating all day long. And of course, spiking my insulin all day long, making myself hungrier. So I stayed hungry, even though, every 2 hours I needed something to put in my mouth to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Fasting made all of that come to an end. I was able to, because I wasn't a big breakfast eater anyway, I only ate breakfast because, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right?
That's what they tell us.
So I stopped eating breakfast. I would just have my water or black coffee. And I would just eat lunch and dinner every day. And then eventually I started eating. When I would go into the office, I said, okay, I won't eat until I leave work, until I get back home. So when I would go into the office, I would skip breakfast and lunch and then make it home and eat dinner. So yes, I was able to eat less that way. And I don't know if you fast or not, but fasting cuts out cravings as well.
Well, yes, I do fast because it just comes naturally because I
Yeah.
don't stimulate my insulin with sugar,
Mhm.
starches, flour, and so on. But I didn't start off fasting. It just came naturally from not being so hungry from my ghrelin, my hunger not being stimulated at the same time as the insulin. And I'm wondering, were you not hungry eating just once a day?
No, I was not hungry because I had my water and my black coffee and I was busy. So yes,
And
when
does
you
that
fast that long, you don't get hungry.
Yeah, it's
Your body.
amazing to think that you went from eating three, four, five, six times a day with that diet, whatever. I don't want to know which one it is. All the way to eating once a day, and you weren't even hungry. I mean, that is mind blowing.
Yes, it's all a mindset. I guess excuse me, I guess my body got what they call fat adapted. I was burning ketones and fat instead of carbs. That's a whole nother story, but
Yeah, yeah, because you cut out the sugar. Did you cut flour as well and processed grains?
you could say I did, unless of course if I had some fried chicken from somewhere, then which I don't eat much of anyway, but I didn't intentionally just cut out the flour, but I don't buy flour, I don't cook with flour. So if it's a special occasion and I go somewhere and they have some chicken with flour that was prepared with flour, if there's baked, I'll choose the baked, but it's not a big deal if I do eat the chicken with the flour.
Gotcha. Yeah. And do
Because
you
it
eat bread still?
Oh no, I'm done with bread.
Mhm.
Bread, no, I don't eat bread. If
Okay.
I do, it's at a restaurant, special occasion. They may have some bread on the table. I'll eat some then. I don't buy bread.
Okay. All right. Do you feel that you're missing out on anything at all by not eating sugar, not eating flour with the bread and everything else, and not even eating 3 square meals a day?
No, I don't feel like I'm missing out. I feel empowered that I have control. The food doesn't control me anymore. The sugar doesn't control me anymore.
Mm.
And I will say that if I go to a birthday party or something, I may have a slice of cake. I may not. I'm in control now.
Yeah,
I'm empowered. It doesn't control me anymore.
that's wonderful, isn't it?
It is. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. Did you even imagine that that would be possible?
I imagined it, yes. I always imagined that one day I would not be hooked on sugar. Because I can remember maybe 10 years ago, and I threw everything out of my cupboard that had sugar in it, and I tried it. I don't remember what happened with that, but I guess it didn't last long. So I've always wanted to cut sugar out of my diet.
And what do you think is different about this time round as opposed to, let's say, 10 years ago?
Well, 10 years ago, I wasn't intermittent fasting. I was probably eating all day long and cravings through the roof, and that didn't help. That didn't help me. So now that I have that under control, that probably helped me out a great deal by
Yeah,
not eating 6 times a day.
yeah, yeah. And would you say that if someone wants to start changing their diet, not just what they eat, but when they eat, what would be your advice to them? Start with intermittent fasting and then cut sugar, or start with cutting sugar and then do intermittent fasting?
Well, I guess it would depend on what their goal is. If they're trying to lose weight, I would say, because now I know Graham cut the sugar first before he started, Graham Curry. Love him. But, it depends on the person. You could start by creating an eating window and getting that under control, and then start looking at your diet. I mean, that's what I did. I created the eating window, and once I got comfortable with that, the next step was looking at my food.
Mhm.
And then I started eliminating things. So that's how I did it. I'm sure, there's no one way for it fits all. So whatever is easier for that individual. It was
Yeah.
easy for me to fast and then start looking at my food.
Yeah, I agree. There is no one size fits all. And it's basically whatever gets you to your goals, and sustainably, because as you were saying, you've been stopping and starting, as most of us have, for years.
Yeah.
And it
Hmm.
feels like this time it's for good.
It's for good now. Yes.
Mm.
Yes, I feel good about that. I can look at a cupcake now and say no, thank you, and walk away.
Yeah, I mean, that is more than
Great.
most people can say.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. And would you say also that you are more ready to look after yourself in this way because you're further on in your life and you're sort of at a different stage in your life?
Yes, definitely. I'm 56 years old. Um, I don't want to grow old and get sick. I see a lot of people my age passing away from cancer and heart disease and things of that nature. And that's on my mind as well. I don't want to be sick in my golden years.
Mm.
I don't want to be stuck in a wheelchair or obese or any of that.
Yeah,
I want to be healthy
yeah,
in
yeah,
my old age. And many people, when they see that I'm cutting certain things out and they'll look at me and say, well, we're going to die from something. I say, yes, but it can just be old age. It doesn't have to be cancer. It doesn't have to be heart attack. But,
absolutely.
to
Yeah,
each his own.
absolutely, exactly. And we're not responsible for other people's choices. I mean, you listen to a lot of podcasts, you know that this one, the reason why I started this podcast was to inspire people, not
Yeah.
to preach at them,
Well,
but
you've inspired me.
I'm so happy to hear it. Yeah, wonderful,
There are
wonderful.
actually people out there that have eliminated sugar from their diet.
And are happy all the same.
Yes, they're not angry.
No, quite the opposite. Yeah, we actually feel better. Who would have thought?
Exactly. I feel wonderful.
That is an empowering message in and of itself. Yeah,
Yes,
and an inspiring one. You're inspiring.
yes. Not to mention that once I had already lost 38 pounds with intermittent fasting, but once I cut the sugar out of my eating window, I lost 20 more pounds
Amazing. Yeah.
effortlessly. I wasn't even trying to.
No, it's effortless, and it's not magic, it's human biology. Except we don't get that information by the diet culture, do we?
No, we don't. The diet culture will tell you 300 calories of a cupcake is the same as a 300 calories lettuce and tomato plate. And it's not the same.
It's not. It won't do the same in your body. Absolutely. And now that we know what or how human biology works and how insulin works, then as you say, it's effortless.
Effortless,
Amazing.
definitely. I
Yeah.
say, am I going to spike my insulin once or twice today? So if I eat lunch, I know it's going to be twice. Or if I skip lunch, if I'm really busy, if I have a really busy day, I can just skip it all and go and wait until dinner time.
Yeah. Yes. With no suffering whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
In
Ama-
fact, I'm sharper when I don't eat.
Yeah, you've got
My
more mental
brain,
clarity.
yes,
Mm.
yes, definitely. More energy.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, you look lovely.
Thank you.
It's really lovely to talk with you and to be inspired by you, as I'm sure a lot of listeners will be. And thank you, Tracey, for telling us your story.
Thank you for having me. And while I'm here, I meant to mention to you that I took my little journal and turned it into a book.
Oh, let us know what's the title?
It's called Intermittent Fasting for Life, Experiment of One.
Love it.
In fact, that is the name of the podcast that I'm going to be launching as well.
Wow, fantastic. And you're
I
going
would
to,
like, yes, I want to inspire people just as you have, and just as Jen Stevens has, and Graham Curry, and on all of the others.
wonderful. The more the merrier, really.
Yes, the more the merrier.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, what a fantastic chat with Tracey, a fellow intermittent faster. And not everyone who embarks on an intermittent fasting lifestyle ends up cutting sugar. In fact, it's pretty popular in the intermittent fasting world that I'm part of to come across the eat whatever you want in your window approach, which usually includes processed foods, including sugar, which is great. But a lot of people, just like Tracey, realize after a while that if you want to make intermittent fasting easy and natural and effortless, then what you eat in your eating window actually counts for a lot. And as Tracey found out, once she did cut sugar and flour and basically processed foods, everything became so much easier, and her intermittent fasting lifestyle has now just become her life. And look, I do realize that cutting sugar is much easier said than done. And you may need some guidance and support and especially accountability. And that's exactly why I created the Freedom from Cravings Formula 90-day program and the After Sugar Club private membership. The After Sugar Club private membership is designed to give you support through our live check-in calls at a more affordable price. The After Sugar Club is always open for you. Check out the After Sugar Club private membership when you go to aftersugarclub.com, click on After Sugar Club in the top menu. And for more step-by-step guidance and customized support to help you get rid of cravings so that you can slim down and finally feel in control around food, there's my 90-day program, Freedom from Cravings Formula. To get more info about the program and when it next opens, go to aftersugarclub.com and click on the big green button to schedule a clarity call with me so that we can talk together to see if the Freedom from Cravings Formula program is a good fit for you. That's it for this week. Keep in touch and see you soon for another episode.